Justice Mohammed Garba Umar of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Friday apparently rejected the plans by the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, to stop the upcoming Monday, October 20th planned mass protests by Nigerians to demand the release of the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but, according to the organizer of the protest, Omoyele Sowore, after the judge initially declined to grant the Nigeria police force an ex-parte motion to stop the planned protest in the open court, the Federal High Court judge, Justice Umar, reportedly granted the motion in chambers, imposing a ban on protests at Aso Rock Villa, National Assembly, or Unity Fountain in Abuja. We await a certified true copy of the order, which our lawyers will review. The protest remains unstoppable. While this is ongoing, the United States, U.S. Embassy in Nigeria has warned American citizens to be whenever controversies surround Rufai Aseni, the outspoken and fearless broadcaster on Arise television. One recurring argument often resurfaces in public discourse: the claim that Rufai Aseni is not a journalist. Critics are quick to emphasize that he lacks a formal academic background in journalism, having originally trained in animal anatomy. But beyond the semantics of qualification, a deeper question emerges: what truly defines a journalist, and what are the core functions of journalism in society? As mass communication teacher, we teach students from the very first class that the media exists to inform, educate, entertain, and preserve cultural heritage. Journalists also play the crucial roles of agenda setting and acting as watchdogs, holding public officials accountable and amplifying the voices of the governed. The media's capacity to shape national conversations is immense. By highlighting specific issues and giving them prominence, Nigerian Army Authority has issued a statement, denying threat messages issued against members of the public ahead of the planned mass protest slated for October 20, 2025 to demand for the release and freedom of the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, just as the organizer and chief campaigner, Omoyele Sowore, the publisher of Sahara Reporters news media, met to seek understanding with the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who, according to Sowore, promised to visit President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to discuss the issue with him. Nigerian Army, in a statement on Friday, said, "The attention of the Nigerian Army, NA, has been drawn to a misleading publication by Sahara Reporters alleging that a Facebook page purportedly operated by military personnel issued veiled threats against certain individuals ahead of a planned October 20th protest. The report is not only false but a deliberate attempt to misinform." President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria has accepted the resignation of the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Jeffrey Uche-Naji, who had been accused of forging the degree certificate of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and the certificate of completion of service for the one-year mandatory National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, after he allegedly failed an exit course, virology, repeatedly at the university. Nigeria presidency, in a statement made available a few minutes ago by the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, stated that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has accepted the resignation of Jeffrey Uche-Naji, the Minister of Innovation, Science, and Technology, following some allegations against him. President Tinubu appointed Naji in August 2023. He resigned today in a letter thanking the president for allowing him to serve Nigeria. Naji said he has been a target of blackmail. Princess Ola Toure-Amaje Kadunmianiru from Ogun State and a Commonwealth Award winner who is currently pursuing a master degree in law has called on the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately release the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, stating in a statement personally signed and made available to Media Newsroom on Monday, that 10 years of detention without conviction is a grave violation of the fundamental human rights of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, specifically stated verbatim that the continued detention of Mr. Kanu without conviction is not merely a legal anomaly. It is a profound failure of justice and a grave violation of his fundamental human rights. His prolonged detention exposes the widening gap between Nigeria's constitutional expectations and the daily realities of citizens. We must have a justice system that acts with both fairness and decisive strength, not one in. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, may have given a clearer picture on how some companies are apparently aiding and making more money from the ongoing war in his country Ukraine, saying, since the start of the war 4 years ago, some unnamed companies in the United States, US, United Kingdom, UK, China, Germany, Taiwan, Switzerland, Japan, Korea Republic, Netherlands are producing components Russia under President Vladimir Putin is using to produce weapons of mass destruction to kill his people. This, Zelensky in his own words said on Monday that, in the 4th year of the full-scale war, Russia continues to obtain components for producing weapons. During the massive combined strike on Ukraine on the night of October 5th, Russia used 549 weapon systems containing 102,785 foreign-made components from companies in the two separate courts in the Nigeria Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Tuesday fixed October 27th and November 20th, 2025 for the commencement of the lawsuits brought before them by the founder and publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore, and the Department of State Service, DSS, over issue of posts published on X and Facebook social media platforms that allegedly described President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a criminal after the president allegedly said there is no more corruption in Nigeria while the president was speaking at an event in Brazil in the month of August 2025. According to Omoyele Sowore's lawyer, Tope Temokin, today, at the Federal High Court in Abuja, proceedings commenced in the historic cases filed by rights activist Omoyele Sowore challenging the clampdown on free speech and political expression by the Department of State Services, SSS, in collusion with global social media giants Meta. Information from the Nigerian presidency has indicated that there is a plan by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to begin legal action against the country's former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, over sustained and continuous rumors in certain quarters that ex-President Jonathan may have indicated interest to recontest as Nigeria president in 2027. This, the special advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said Jonathan is welcome to join the 2027 presidential electoral race, but Jonathan will have his date in the court of the land. Indeed, the jury will determine whether Jonathan, who was sworn in twice as president, satisfies the constitutional requirements and is eligible to contest the presidency and be sworn in, if successful, for a third term in office. It would be recalled that ex-President Jonathan was one of the most criticized presidents in Nigeria, with politicians, including President Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Friday stated that many world leaders who do come out publicly to condemn the Israel war in Gaza, do privately thank Israel for staging the war against Hamas, and according to Benjamin Netanyahu, the world leaders tell me how much they value Israel's superb intelligence services that have prevented time and again terrorist attacks in their capitals, time and again saving countless lives. General George Keegan, former head of U.S. Air Force Intelligence, once said, if the United States had to gather on its own the intelligence that Israel gives us, we would have to establish 5 CIAs. This past June, when Israel struck Iran's nuclear facilities, German Chancellor Merz admitted the truth. This, Benjamin Netanyahu stated when the speech was being broadcast live via huge loudspeakers that were placed on the Gaza border while the Israel Prime Minister, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Friday ruled that the detained Biafra agitation leader, Nnamdi Kanu, has case to answer, because the Nigeria government prosecution team have provided some evidence that requires explanations from the detained Biafra leader. This, the coordinating lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, said the judgment of the court does not mean Nnamdi Kanu has been pronounced guilty. Rather, the ruling indicated that he should give explanations to certain evidences the federal government of Nigeria brought before the court. It would be recalled that the ruling on the no-case submission filed by Nnamdi Kanu that was earlier slated to be held on October 10, 2025 was abridged and rescheduled to Friday the 26th of September 2025. Justice James Omotosho also rejected request by Kanu to be transferred from custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, to the National Hospital. President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and its US counterpart, Donald Trump, on Tuesday engaged in a tough talk over the recognition of Palestine state and the Israeli war in Gaza during the bilateral meeting both held on the sideline of the UN General Assembly in New York, where the French president insisted that Israel has already achieved more by killing the top militia leaders of Hamas, saying, "It doesn't work to dismantle the Hamas. This is not the right way to proceed," he said, while President Trump had reiterated and insisted that things will not work the way the French president had suggested, that the October 7, 2023 hostages still in the custody of Hamas cannot be honored with such suggestions. The meeting was held when videos of the French President, Emmanuel Macron, and Turkish President, Recep Erdogan went viral on the internet, where both presidents were stopped or blocked separately by New York police operatives as they There is no doubt that this week may be an interesting week in the international community as world leaders gather for the 2025 United Nations General Assembly meeting to discuss and take a stand over decades of conflicts between Israel and the people of Palestine, especially some of them well known as Hamas fighters, over territorial integrity and sovereignty, most especially ever since the State of Palestine was officially declared by the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, on the 15th of November 1988, claiming sovereignty over the West Bank, which includes East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip, and as at the end of 1988, over 78 countries approved the declaration, including Nigeria, that recognized Palestinian state barely 3 days after the declaration on November 18, 1988, and the numbers have been increasing particularly since the beginning of 2024 like never before, as of September 21, 2025.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.